All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. Before we get started, I'm going to ask that Councilmember Hinton lead us in prayer, and everyone please stand for this pledge.
Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful day, and thank you for the city we have here to govern, and please help us make this city prosperous. Help us make good decisions that'll help the city. Dear Lord, we ask these things in your name. Amen.
All right, again, thank you all for being here. We're going to go ahead and dive right in. First item on the agenda is to consider approval of the February 26, 2025, February 27, 2025, and March 4th, 2025, and March 10th, 2025 meeting minutes. Council, if we've had a chance to review the minutes, the floor will be open for a motion.
I have reviewed them, and I make a motion that we accept them.
I second.
All right, I have a motion by Councilmember Redfern, second by Councilmember Carbell. Madam Secretary, please record a vote.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Vote is unanimous. We'll go ahead and close item 1 on the agenda. Our next item is public comments. The City Council welcomes citizens' participation and comments at all council meetings. Citizens' comments are limited to 2 minutes out of respect for everyone's time. The council is not permitted to respond to your comments. The Texas Open Meetings Act requires that topics of discussion, deliberation be posted on an agenda not less than 72 hours in advance of council meetings. If your comments relate to a topic that is on the agenda, the council will discuss the topic on the agenda at the time the topic is discussed and deliberated. At this time, if we have anyone that would like to come up to speak, please do so and leave the council with your name and address. And you're more than welcome to come up and address the council.
My name is Jessie Parchman. I live at 504 County Road 1612, Mount Pleasant. So good evening. My name is Jessie Parchman, and I'm leading a program entitled Prepared Neighbor, Prepared Community, a Titus County emergency preparedness program. This first session is over what happens when you're first to the scene. So you're driving home and you witness a car accident. What do you do? Some of you may think that this is common knowledge, but I was one of the first to a car accident 2 years ago, and it is evident that it is not common knowledge. This event is on March 29th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Joe's Downtown. Representatives from the NTCC EMS department and law enforcement will be there to give knowledge on this topic and what bystanders can do, along with a scenario-based practice. While this training may not last the full 3 hours, I encourage everyone to ask questions, engage with community members. This is a free course open to the public, and we will have door prizes that will help you become a prepared community member. So I encourage everyone to come, and of course, tell a neighbor.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have anyone else at this time? Yes, sir.
My name is Robert Taylor. I live at 668 Stark in the public housing. Turn this to the mayor. I have some really good news despite all the problems I've had since I come here. My house was burned down. My service dog saved my life. As you can see, it's been several weeks in the burn center, had pneumonia, wound up on dialysis. I've been a very healthy person all my life. Show this to the mayor. Some of the people that light has fell on deaf ears. Last week I was on my way here, but I got my dates mixed up. But I've been working with the veterans, and got a program we're getting ready to do with service dogs. That's what I came here to do, but we're taking it to a higher level, And this is the brochure here. Not only that, when I came here last week, I ran into some people. I must have meant for me to be there. This lady happened to have a Great Dane on her back, and I used to work with Great Danes. I introduced myself, and that's all I had to do. She knew all the people that I worked with. I'm the sole, like I said when I first came here, I'm the sole survivor of the original importers of the Canaan dog from Israel. Anybody that has one of those dogs had to get it through my friends. And so I'm talking to Miss Lynn Barrett and John Akram. His wife's a veterinarian. And so I felt pretty good, despite all the hardship that I've had, that someone has seen some of the things that I've done in my life and recognized them for what they're worth. And it hasn't been nothing on it. I've been really happy because of the things that I've experienced. But I look at the good people that have helped me in Naples. I've been a member of the Men's Breakfast for several years with John Bryan and everything, and then came here, and I've been working with the veterans, and they've done an awful lot for me. After I talked to them about, but Steve Austin wasn't worth a damn, and I didn't have to elaborate on that. But anyway, the people that I'm working with, they're trying to do some things, and I hope people support the veterans. And I'm real sensitive about that. One of my brothers couldn't go to school, but he went to Vietnam on a buddy system, was a drill instructor right out here. Him and his best friend, which happened to be a white guy, they bought the farm. Then my other brother went to Vietnam, drafted, he ain't worth a damn. And he's a preacher, came here and just screwed up the family property. So my grandfather's sister's farm, he took off to Tennessee. But he's a preacher. And his oldest daughter was raised with us, and man, she's married to a very, very dynamic preacher. Young guy out of Oakland, California, Richmond to be exact. But her husband spoke and did a sermon for Jimmy Swaggart. And my niece says, Uncle Randy, guess what Sean did for Jimmy Swaggart in Baton Rouge? I says, oh, I wouldn't be surprised because the kid is good. And she said, well, guess how much he got paid? I said, what, about $1,000? Well, make a long story short, she says, no, more or less, more. $20,000 service. You know, but the kid is that good. He tear you up like Hannibal and build you up like Solomon. And I just thank God for the goodness in my life, despite all the hell that I've been catching. And I hope to come back with more good news for everybody.
Thank you, sir. We certainly
Sir.
appreciate it.
Sir, woohoo. I wanted to thank you for your service. I've listened to you come up before and talk about your service dogs, and I know it's hard for you to get up here, and I thank you. And I thank you.
All right. Well, we certainly thank you, sir. We appreciate you. All right. Do we have anyone else at this time?
Hi, my name's Renata Entley. I reside out actually in Omaha, but I do door dashing here in Mount Pleasant, so this story does relate to Mount Pleasant. And I have come here before, concerning animals. On Friday night, I was door dashing, and in the headlights of my car, I saw a very big dog on the side of the road. I dropped off my order, went back to the dog, fearing the worst. My fear was realized when she did not get up. I left a note with a house across the street. They could easily see this dog from their house. And I thought maybe it was theirs and that it got hit, so I left a note. And I loaded her into my car. I continued to work for a little bit more, and then I took her home. After I got her settled in with some food, I had to like a plastic syringe, put some water in her mouth because she was emaciated. So I gave her a little bit of water. I kept her Saturday and Sunday and Monday. I was gonna take her to the shelter and, you know, probably have them put her down. But she just seemed like a really good dog, and I thought maybe I could crowdfund some money to get her fixed. I thought maybe she just had a broken leg or something. I went to bed and I researched the address to the house. I found the owner online and sent her a message over Facebook Messenger asking if she knew anything about the dog. And I woke up the next morning to find that not only could she not even take 2 minutes out of her day to talk to me about this poor dog, but she blocked me. They knew this dog. You can't miss them. I could stand at their front door and see this dog in front of their house across the road. It was the access road by I-30. So on my own dime, I took Thea, the name I gave her. May I? For just a little bit? Okay, unfortunately, she had too many problems to overcome. These issues were what led to her being in that ditch. She did not have a broken leg. She was not hit by a car. She was left there. She had internal injuries, a tumor in her bone, probably heartworm, and there was like a lesions from the bone tumor stretching the skin and licking it. They were pretty ugly, but I was gonna fix her up and possibly find her a new home because I have 6 dogs at my house. $268 that I spent today to watch her die. I sat in a room with her because they didn't want to move her from the x-ray room. We found out she had a cervical infection as well, and when they went to move her, a lot of stuff came out that shouldn't have been in there. So she had been sitting in that ditch or wherever else for God knows how long. She was emaciated. These people saw her. I have their address. Please help me do something with it.
What was your name again, ma'am?
Renata. Renata. Last name Entley. Entley. I watched this beautiful dog as she died because I didn't want her to suffer anymore. I couldn't afford to get her the care she needed. It was expensive, and she was left there. These people saw her. People that drove by saw her. And I'm sorry, this just happened about 3 hours ago, and I knew that there was a council meeting tonight, and I said I have to tell this poor dog's story. And they're all over the county. And it's so hard. I'm not rich. I DoorDash. But to put that poor animal out of her misery, I spent money to help her go. So please, think about something that we can do to help these animals.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
and I am so sorry that you had to go through that, but we do need to bring that animal ordinance back and get that resolved. And I spoke to Mark earlier about bringing that back up, but I will not vote. I've told Mark this to enforce on the city residents to spay or neuter, but I will support the other changes you would like to make if you want to revive that and bring it back up to us.
Okay, that's something we can look forward to. All right, do we have anyone else at this time? All right, at this time, we'll go ahead and close the public comments and move on to item 3. Item 3 is to consider an agreement with Paycom for payroll, onboarding, recruitment, and benefits with the city of Mount Pleasant.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. How y'all doing this evening? Okay, so currently when we hire somebody, we have several different programs that we have to use in order to get them on board. It starts with the application program. It does not communicate with the payroll. It does not communicate with the benefits. Everything is separate, and we have to take the data from one to the other. It's time consuming, and it leaves room for error. So we have come across Paycom, and we have a representative here that would like to give you a little demonstration. It will streamline the process, it will save us money, and it will make our job a little easier.
All right, thank you.
This is Joe Hollowell.
Welcome, Mr. Holloway. You'll
Good
have to
evening.
hold-
Yeah, sorry. Yes, to Holly's point, I am Joe Hollowell with Paycom. I've been covering the city of Mount Pleasant in the Mount Pleasant area now for a little over a year. I've had the amazing opportunity to work with Candace and her team. Our first meeting was on December 11th, all the way up to a department head demonstration here in late February. What I wanted to highlight first was, to Holly's point here, is our HR Lifecycle product suite. But in reality, with Paycom, you actually are hiring employees, right? So you're going to get an HR administrator to help with the onboarding tasks. You're going to get a payroll administrator to help navigate any payroll changes needed, any deductions needed, anything done within one system. A dedicated tax team that's going to do all tax filings for the city, not taking away any visibility into what's being taxed, but assuming all liability that they are filed correctly. You are also going to have the ability to let your department heads get out on the floor and be with their teams quicker and more efficiently, and not having to take time to get their time cards sent over to Holly, to Candace. That is going to be done and driven by the employee. Why Paycom for the city of Mount Pleasant is, as it stands today, there is no centralized way to take care of any time and attendance or any sort of employee demographic information. That's all handled through emails back and forth, through department heads, to Candace, to Holly, and there's no real streamlined approach to this. Through the analysis and through talking with the team here, there's a lot of manual processes, a lot of workarounds that are having to go into place today, and to Holly's point, in multiple systems. Where Paycom is unique is we are an all-in-one single database. So what it means by that is the same system and functionality in the app in an employee's pocket is going to be the same thing that an administrator will see on their desktop. There is no multiple technologies an employee will have to manage. It's just all located in one place. So the Paycom initial annual investment is going to be $42,239.66. But with that, like I just mentioned, you are going to get 4 employees with Paycom, right? Also ongoing on-site customer support and a proactive and reactive dedicated point of contact. So if anything goes wrong or if there's any need for anything, there's going to be a reactive customer contact. It is always going to, our CEO believes in always have a dedicated domestic support. So it's never going to be outsourced. But on the flip side of that, you're also going to have a proactive customer support representative that's going to continuously keep up to date with your account, continuously come out once a quarter, once a year, whatever is deemed necessary with the team, and continue with best practices. The Paycom standard usage for employees inputting their own data, which is going to ensure compliance for the city, is 98%. So that is not our goal, that is our benchmark. And if it is not at 98%, we take the earnest and we get employees up to speed. So with Paycom, the city of Mount Pleasant is going to be able to efficiently onboard employees, bring up department heads to spend more time with their employee and not doing the paperwork. I know the first time I filled out a W-4, it was the paper document and I was freaking out and had to call my poor mother. 21 years old, I asked, do I have any dependents? And she's like, no, you're still a dependent. So with Paycom, we have the ability to do all of this electronically and seamlessly, and there is no bridge to get it to another technology. It is all housed under the same umbrella. We're going to be able to eliminate all payroll errors and employee missed punches through a multitude of different ways to clock in and out, whether it be geofencing for some of your field staff, kiosks for like your field department, you don't want them having their phones, also with it being able to log in at their desktop. So really have whatever is going to be best suited for the employee, giving them their full features and functionalities. What I have here is a slide of people I hope you never see. These are our direct leaderships, right? So my sales manager, her name is Sean Wright. She's been with us out in the territory as well. Her boss, Greg McPherson. Our TSR manager, Josie Hughes. She has been with Paycom almost 10 years out of the Oklahoma City office. So her and her team will spearhead the implementation on site for continued trainings, on site for first payroll, on site for whatever may be needed throughout the time. With Paycom, especially the Oklahoma City office, there's no tenure greater than the Oklahoma City office for our support. I'm very, very proud of that. Also with that as well, her boss being Colin Washburn, and then new client setup, team lead being Matthew Lester, and his supervisor being Haley Beer. What I have below here is just a sample timeline of an implementation process. Our implementation process is typically 8 to 12 weeks, and it's kind of broken out into what each week will be. But I also have broken down a little bit simpler on what each phase will be. Realistically, the first 3 weeks is our data collection. It's where the team will work with our data extraction specialists to get all employee demographic information, labor allocations, time and attendance, PTO policies, everything that is in place today and is in a human automation. We're just going to create a solution automation for that. We will automate everything that is your current business processes today. And then after that 3 weeks, Candace, Holly, and the rest of the team will get to build out Paycom how they want it. And then once first payroll is ran, that you guys will actually tell us what continued trainings are needed. And then once you are ready to go, you let us know. We transition you to your lawn care team. But at no point in time during a partnership is Paycom not monitoring the health of Paycom for the city of Mount Pleasant. We are always going to make sure you guys are at that 98% usage minimum. And if not, we will be reaching out for additional trainings, additional support, anything we can do to help further the partnership. Are there any questions?
How many other, can you hear? No problem, that's okay. I just want to know, you have, I'm pretty sure you do, but other cities that you service?
In Texas or in Oklahoma?
In Texas, actually.
In Texas, I believe we have 6. The city of Grapevine, city of Bel Air, city of Cleveland, Balcone Heights, just to name a few. I'm happy to provide city of Bel Air as a reference. I know that we have a reference letter from them as well. But yes, we have a ton of municipalities here in Texas as well as Oklahoma City.
All right, thanks, sir.
So, I own a small business, and so we use QuickBooks. So I'm kind of following what you're doing because I buy the different modules, the time module, and they do their own stuff. They key in their own tax information, and then it does my taxes for me, for them. So the way they charge me is how many employees I'm using and how many are on it. Is that how you came up with your pricing for this, like based on the city?
Yes, so Paycom is very unique in our pricing model, is that we charge per employee you pay. So you can have the entire town of the city of Mount Pleasant if you want to within Paycom, but we are only going to charge you with employees you pay for a pay period.
And then if, so I always have problems, and so I'm looking at these girls because that would be them. It never fails on payday when I have to press the button that it goes to the people. Now, I don't know how easier it is for you, but they always come to me 30 minutes later saying that they made a mistake on their payroll. And I have to then get on the phone and I have to try to talk to a person. And they don't want to talk, they want to chat. And so, you know, I'm going against the clock to make sure everything is getting in. And they promised me they would have people, and I always say human, wanting a human. Do you have the people there to help them, like if it's late at night? I mean, because I'm always up there trying to get it done by a certain time. I just want to make sure you've got a human.
Yes, we do. We definitely have a human, but we also take a proactive approach to it, where a lot of times we find with those payroll, it's where an employee forgot to clock out or didn't, you know, their time was incorrect. We take a proactive approach and send out what's called approve my check, but in reality, that's an employee approving their time card days before payroll is actually due. So that's how, typically 3 to 5 days.
I have a question, and I see the amount here, and I'm assuming everybody's researched it and are in favor of it. I just want to make sure there's no hidden cost anywhere, because I know there have been times when we found those things, and I just, you know, if we're going to pay this amount, I want to make sure we don't get billed extra for anything we're doing.
No, that's totally fair. So what you have here is that upfront implementation investment that is going to be to get your team assigned and to get the implementation process started. The only other additional fees are like at the end of the year for like W-2 filings and your year-end filings.
Is this a yearly contract?
It is a 3-year agreement.
And everybody has a way out if it doesn't work, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Holly, maybe you can answer this. And this, how much of a savings will this be for?
I actually have a slide for that. So I think Candace might have sent these numbers out already, but right now on the left is the current programs, softwares we're using, plus the estimated cost for performance management software. And so that totals to $53,604 is what we're paying now. And then on the right is the cost for Paycom. And so in the first year, we would save about $7,000. And then each year after, it'd be closer to $11,000 because of that one-time conversion fee.
Okay, thank you.
So, looks like y'all looked at this and it's what you want to use. Did y'all look at other ones to compare and make sure, research all that?
Yes, sir, we did. And I will also say that we had reached out to every city that Paycom sent us in Texas and in Oklahoma, and everyone that responded back praised how quick the service was, the response time, compared to other vendors that they were using that we had already looked at. And we also had to find something that migrated with our current software, OpenGov, and there's only 2, which is UKG and Paycom. And a lot of the other cities that we looked at complained about the response time from UKG versus Paycom and the cost.
Do you have any further questions?
So, Holly and Jillian, y'all like it? I mean, you've got to play with it, demo it.
Ms. Ray?
Councilman Corbell, you asked, so the contract is for 3 years. If the city changed its mind, it wasn't for breach or something like that, the city would be obligated to pay effectively the remainder of the term of the agreement. It renews for 3-year increments as well, but at the end of the 3 years, you could terminate. If there was a breach by Paycom, you would have to provide notice to them, and then they have the opportunity to cure.
As long as you fix what's broken.
All right, if we have no further questions, I'll open the floor for a motion on the item.
I make a motion that we enter the agreement with Paycom for payroll, onboarding, recruitment, and benefits with the city of Mount Pleasant.
I second the motion.
Motion made by Councilmember Corbell, second by Councilmember Hinton. Madam Secretary, report a vote, please.
Aye.
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 Yes.
Vote is unanimous. I want to thank you for coming to share that with us. This time we'll close that item on the agenda. Now we'll move on to item 4, which is our monthly financial report for the month ending February 28th, 2025.
Good evening, Council. So we have our monthly financial report. We'll start with the general fund. So our revenues, I've actually added a column to try to provide even more transparency on what the numbers actually mean. And so now we see on the far right the year-to-date percent of budget for the prior year, so we can compare that as opposed to just the numbers, the dollar amounts. So for the general fund, we are sitting at 53.6% year-to-date percent come in, as compared to last year we were at 51.4. So we're a little bit higher than last year, so that's good. Most line items are about right on track where we would expect them to be. And so we look at the property tax, we see the February number is lower than where the other years, the prior years look, and where the budget looks, but that's because we can see in January, that's when most people paid. And so we are right on track. We are actually 0.33% over budget for the year to date, and so that's good. And then for sales tax, these are the numbers we saw last month at the end, where the actuals for February came up a good bit and brought us a little bit better standing, and so those are them. And then if we look at the expense side for the general fund, we're sitting at 40.7% as of 41.9 from last year, so that's good there. And we have a year-to-date overage of about $2 million at the bottom there, and so we're looking at we're in good standings there. A couple of the line items look a little bit high. The tax assessment and collection, that's our second quarterly payment, and so that one's right on track where it's supposed to be. And all the others are right on track where they're supposed to be as well. And then if we move to the utility fund, we're sitting at 40.8%. Last year was 39.3% for the percent of budget, and so that's right on track as well. Doing good on that one. And the expense side is sitting at 36.5 as opposed to 33.6 from last year. So it's a little bit higher, but it's still below that 40.8%. So we're still standing good there. And one department that looks a little off is the freshwater supply, and that's just because of the timing of the March payment. It came out the very end of February. So that's nothing to worry about either. And then I have one more slide for the sales tax that came in just last week. It is slightly over what last year's receipts were, but it's under what the budget is. And so we're still sitting about the same percent off that we were last month. Last month we were 4.37% behind budget. This month as in March, we're at 4.45%. So right about the same, still a little bit cautious, but we're not going down per se. And so that's our report. If you have any questions.
All right, the floor is open for any questions.
I just hope you're sending out memos to everybody. If you don't need it, you don't spend it.
All right, we certainly want to thank you for that report. This time we'll go ahead and close item 4 and move on to item 5. Item 5 is to consider ordinance 2025-7, amending the fiscal year 2025 budget.
So this budget amendment is for our fire roof project, and so our fire chief is here if you have questions on the project, but from when we bid it, or when we first estimated the amount for the project to now, some more problems have shown up that have caused the price to raise, and so this is just to reflect that change in what the project actually will be.
All right, thank you.
I don't have a whole lot to add to what Jillian says. Basically what happened is the estimate we got, and then when they started coming to give us quotes to actually do it, they found other stuff that were evidently missed when they gave us the quote.
And that's for the roof, right?
Correct, Station 2.
What's the actual increased amount? I'm not seeing it. I guess I'm on the wrong page.
The estimate was 70,000, and it's about 136, I think, what we moved it to.
Larry, how'd they miss it that much?
That I can't answer. I'm not the contractor. I just know that's when they came and started giving us actual, hey, we're gonna do it. Then they said, you know, they missed some stuff up around the windows.
And we do have the funds to account for this change as part of the interest that has been earned on the bond funds. And so there's no real impact.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, who Who's the contractor?
I did not bring that paperwork with me, but I can get that answer for you.
You're not the best friend, sir.
Has the work commenced, and would it be possible to get the contractor to come and tell us a few details as to what they missed or what they encountered to cause this to go double?
The company that actually gave us the quote is not the one that came to do the work. So I can go back, talk to one of my DCs that was actually over the project, get some more information for you.
Is the work underway? Is it complete?
Negative, it hasn't started.
Just get a bucket and catch the rain, would you?
I kind of agree with Sherry. I think that somebody needs to come and talk to us. That way we can know exactly what's what.
We can do that.
How many bids did you have on it, Larry, when you first started?
The quote we just had, I think one that came and gave us just an estimate for putting in the budget. And I think we've had 2 or 3 that came and actually said they would start to try and do the work.
Were any of them lower than this expanded budget that we're looking at now?
No.
Have any further questions on the item? Okay, I'm just kind of looking for direction. It seems like you guys want to speak with the contractor. Is it something you want to table? All right, well, I'll need a motion for someone to table this item.
I make a motion to table the budget amendment to allocate addition reserve bond funds to use for the increased cost of the fire roof project.
Motion.
Okay, so a motion's been made to table item 5 by Councilmember Redfern, second by Councilmember Hinton. Madam Secretary, please record a vote.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
That's a unanimous vote. We will table that item. We'll close item 5 now and move on to item 6, which is consider ordinance 2025-9, amending the fiscal year 2025 budget.
Candace said I have to do it. So this amendment is to allocate funds from the general fund to go towards special events and more tourism promotion in the downtown or Main Street district. And so I think Candace might have more information on it. And I believe you have some extra documentation from the Main Street program in your packet as well.
This is the item that Greg spoke about at the Economic Development and here at a council meeting about putting more money toward downtown for them to do more events. And you will find in your packet, the very first page is his letter where he wrote the approval, and then you will also find 2 letters from emails from some downtown merchants requesting it.
Do we have a list as to what those projects may be?
No, ma'am, not at this time.
The only thing I can say from sitting in on just a couple of meetings with downtown merchants, and so when I go back to what Jillian's put up about the sales tax, the city was able to pull off Christmas, yay, and we did it at a much lower amount than we've done previously, which is great. When we saw the people downtown, and we saw that obviously people have been buying more, and that's what we want. You want that sales tax to go up, as we saw last month it was December, and we want to keep it going up. And so since we're trying to keep that sales tax going up, we need to keep something continuously going on downtown, not just Christmas. So when Greg saw the downtown, which I would love to invite all of y'all to come and hang out with us at all these events. We were getting people from all over our area to come shop with us. So we want to get that spending money here more regularly so we can put it back into the downtown, into Main Street, which will benefit all of us.
Okay. All right, do anyone else have anything to add? Okay, with that being said, I'll go ahead and open the floor for a motion on the item.
I make a motion, this budget amendment allocates the funds towards special events in downtown Main Street District, so I make a motion that we move the money and allocate it in the budget where it goes.
I second.
All right, we have a motion made by Councilmember Redfern, second by Councilmember Corbell. Madam Secretary, report a vote, please.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Vote is unanimous. We'll now close that item on the agenda. Next item is item 7. Item 7 is to consider resolution 2025-4 to suspend the effective date proposed by CenterPoint Energy Resources Corporation, Texas Division, to increase rates under the Gas Reliability Infrastructure Program for 45 days and authorize the city's division to increase rates under the Gas Reliability Infrastructure Program for 45 days. Okay. Continued participation in a coalition of cities known as the Alliance of CenterPoint Municipalities.
Good evening. So this is, Freddie Herrera and his law firm, this is something that all cities in there, this is to stop CenterPoint from raising the prices due to storms in other areas. And so this is just something that comes before them, they get everyone together, and they write the resolution, they go fight our battle, we just approve it to say we want to be a part of it.
Thank you, Ken. Council, we have any questions?
Why is it just for 45 days? Is that just the time period to delay it?
Any further questions?
How is to be in this coalition?
I don't really know the cost off the top of my head, but they just charge us one fee. Like we pay them quarterly for this. I don't know honestly what it is. It's split up between several cities around here.
Is that money that's already been budgeted for and accounted for?
Yes, sir.
And we've been doing that for years and years and years and years. Since when Herman was here.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, sorry. They do that, and they also are the same ones who represent us with SWEPCO when they decide to do the same thing.
We have any further questions? Okay, floor is open for a motion.
I make a motion that we pass the resolution 2025-4 to suspend the effective date proposed by CenterPoint Energy Resources to increase rates under the Gas Reliability Infrastructure Program for 45 days and to authorize the city's continued participation in a coalition of cities known as the Alliance of CenterPoint Municipalities.
I second the motion.
All right, we have a motion made by Councilmember Corbell, second by Councilmember Hinton. Madam Secretary, report a vote, please.
Aye.
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 Yes.
Vote is unanimous. We'll now close that item on the agenda. We're now on to item 8. Item 8 is to consider pay request number 8 from Schneider Electric for work on the meter replacement project.
Mayor and council, this is for, the meter work done with Snyder Electric. Pay request number 8 is in the amount $204,826.73, between November 19th of 2024 and February 20th of 2025. Snyder Electric changed out 298 3/4 inch meters, 15 1-inch meters, 42 inch meters, 2 3-inch meters, 5 4-inch meters, and 1 8-inch meter. Total meters replaced to date is 5,756. They'll bring another one later. We're actually down to about 300 meters or so to get this thing finished. So hopefully within the next month, they'll wrap this thing up. Original contract was, construction contract was $2,856,630. Billing to date is $2,188,576.86. Remaining contract cost is $668,052.14. Like I said, this pay request is for $204,826.73, and we recommend a motion to approve.
All right. So we're about 84%, is that correct? Complete?
On this one here, but they've not been doing any work because they have so little to do right now. So it's actually more now, but due to the fact of where we're at, and they just brought this, so we're trying to get caught up and hopefully get this thing wrapped up. But I'd say you're more than 84% right now.
All right, thank you.
You said there's just about 300 left, is all?
That was the count we got, but do understand that just because you got 300 meters left doesn't mean that they've left some. So there will be a walkthrough, and it'll be gone through before it's final. Oh, yes. Yeah, we'll take care of that for sure.
All right.
What's our chance of coming under budget at this point?
I'd say you got a really good chance.
Anthony, do these figures reflect the, didn't they have a plan to, there was someone that was gonna buy the old meters? Are those numbers included here? Do you know if that happened? Did we get good money?
Okay, so that, not in this contract with Snyder. We actually, through the city, did that ourselves. And we saved about, I think it was about $500,000 the buyback.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So which lucky city got our old meters?
I have no idea. Well, I don't know if they're sold, but what happens is Master Meter buys them back from us, we give them back to them, and then what they do with them is their business.
I guess the important thing is that we collected 500 down. I said as long as we're the one collecting the 500,000.
Well, actually, what happened was we've already kind of got that in the contract. The contract on our part for buying the meters was like $2.5 million, and we got it for 1.9999, I think, something like that.
Right. All right, thank you. Do we have any further questions on the item? All right, floor is open.
I'll make a motion to pay request number 8 in the amount of $204,826.73 to Schneider Electric.
I second.
A motion made by Councilmember Hinton, second by Councilmember Carpel. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Vote is unanimous. We'll now close that item on the agenda. We'll now move on to item 9. Item 9 is to consider interlocal agreement with Titus County concerning lease by Titus County to the city of SBCA field station equipment and city operating and maintaining the same.
Mayor, I ask that this be put on the agenda, and I'm going to ask that council table it so that we can allow some adjustments to occur or requests from the county. The county sent it over, I think, in February. It concerns self-containment breathing apparatus equipment that the county purchased and would like to lease to the city. And we just want to clarify a few things in the contract, and so I would just recommend that council table it for that time being, to come back in April.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that recommendation. Floor is open for motion.
I make a recommendation that we table the consideration of the interlocal agreement with the Titus County concerning lease by Titus County to the city of the SBCA, bill station equipment, and city operating and maintaining same.
Okay, that is your motion.
I second it.
All right, we have a motion made by Councilmember Redfern, second by Councilmember Hinton. Madam Secretary, record a vote, please.
Yes.
Aye.
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 That vote is unanimous. That item will be tabled. We'll now close item 9 on the agenda, and we'll move on to item 10. Item 10 is our city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have as attached the reports from the department heads for you to read at your leisure. I am in my 7th day as your city manager. I am very proud to be a member of this community, and I have spent a lot of time communicating with staff and meeting with them to find out what they need, how things are going, and what they have that's going well. I've also asked Candace to reach out to some community members that they might meet with me and I might better understand how the community runs and works. So I'm looking forward to those meetings. I've been invited to the Lions to speak, and I'm a Rotarian, so I will be at Rotary soon to participate with them. And if you have any questions or need to stop by my office, my door's open anytime, same to the public. So hopefully in the future I will be able to answer more questions than I have been able to at this meeting.
All right, thank you. Council, we have any questions at all? All right, we'll go ahead and close item 10 on the agenda, and we'll now go to executive session. Pursuant to open
Mayor?
meeting, yes, did you have something?
Yes, before you go, this Saturday, we will be hosting pancakes for all that would like to attend at Station 1. It's from 8 to 11. And it's free. Our lovely firefighters, if they're not called out, will be cooking pancakes for everyone. And if not, I have volunteered to step in and cook them.
That's awesome. Chief, you were supposed to make that announcement. She's got it covered. That's awesome. All right. We'll go ahead to our executive session. Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, the City Council will recess into executive session to discuss the following: economic development, deliberations about real property, and consultation with attorney regarding requests relating to economic development project. Also, consultation with attorney regarding potential claims related to the wastewater treatment plant screw pumps. At this time, the council will go into executive session. The time is 7:39 PM. The council has reconvened from executive session. There is no action taken. At this time, the council will be adjourned.